Hello, welcome to the ranch. Most gardens don't fail because people are careless or lazy, uninformed, because the advice people were given doesn't match the way land actually works. If gardening feels harder than it should, it's probably not you. It's the myths. Most garden advice sounds confident. It's usually delivered quickly with certainty and often comes with a list of rules that are supposed to work everywhere. But gardening doesn't actually work that way. Gardens, they're not recipes, they're relationships. And most advice people repeat and comes from simplifying systems that were never simple to begin with. Today, I want to take a calm look at a few garden myths. Not to argue, not to prove anybody wrong, but to slow things down and look at what's actually happening underneath. These aren't internet myths, they're ideas. Many well-meaning gardeners repeated because they sounded true. Myth number one, you need good soil to start a garden. This is probably the most common belief, and it stops people from ever intentionally trying to grow food. People, they look at the ground, they see the rocks, clay, sand, weeds, and they decide they're disqualified before they even try. But historically, most food was grown on bad soil. Good soil isn't something you start with, something you build slowly. The growing plants, returning organic matter, letting life run its course, and letting life do the work. Soil, it's not dirt, it's process. If you wait for perfect soil before planting, you'll never plant. Gardens don't come from good soils. Good soils come from gardens. Myth number two, you need to control nature for a garden to work. Modern gardening advice, it often treats nature like something that needs to be harnessed and controlled, suppressed, or corrected. We're told to eliminate weeds, remove insects, sterilize the soil, and enforce an order. But productive gardens, they don't come from control, they come from cooperation. Every ecosystem that reliably provides food does so by layering plants, sharing resources, and recycling waste. When we fight that, what we're doing is creating more work for ourselves. Garden, it's not something you dominate, it's something you cooperate with. The more you try and force a garden to behave, the more fragile it comes. Resilient gardens grow from letting life do what it already knows how to do. Myth three, gardening's about maximum yield. First, it sounds practical, but it can be misleading. Chasing maximum yield means exhausting the soil, increasing disease pressure, increasing labor, and increasing dependence on outside resources. Traditional gardens didn't aim for the biggest harvest in one season. They aimed for constant survival over many seasons. A garden that produces slightly less food, but it does so reliably year after year, is far more valuable than one that produces a huge yield and then collapses. Yield isn't just about quantity, it's about stability. Gardens that last are designed to endure, not necessarily impress. Brings us to myth four. Gardening is mostly about hard work. People often say gardening is hard work, as if that hard work was the proof of the actual success. But most of that labor is proof of poor design. not a virtue. When systems are aligned, water flows where it should. Plants support each other and the soil stays covered. And then the amount of effort drops dramatically. Historical gardens were built around efficiency, not some constant struggle. The goal wasn't work harder. It was work less without starving. Good gardening is quiet work done at the correct time, not endless effort at the wrong time. Myth number 5, gardening is separated from the rest of life. This is a modern idea, and it's a damaging one. Gardening is often treated as a hobby, something separated from food systems, animals, seasons, daily life. But traditional gardens were integrated into everything. Kitchen waste was returned to the soil. Animals, they interacted with plants. Planting, it followed the weather and daylight. Harvests were part of daily routine. Gardens weren't projects, they were infrastructure, if even on a small scale. When gardening is isolated from the rest of life, it becomes fragile and inefficient. When woven into daily systems, it becomes resilient. Food was never meant to come from a single square of land. It came from a web of relationships. Most garden myths, they survived because they offered simple solutions to complex systems. But land rewards attention. Gardening has never been about following rules perfectly. It's about watching, adjusting, and learning season after season. The people that fed themselves successfully in the past, they didn't have better advice. They had better relationships with the land, time, and limits. And if there's one thing worth remembering, it's this: gardens don't fail because people don't try hard enough. They fail because we forgot life is a system. And systems, they don't respond well to shortcuts. Well, thank you for watching. Check back in on me sometime. I'm always up to something new.